Excuse me. I've got a gun and I'm here to suck your What?
You're gonna let me suck your toes, and you're gonna like it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tether Radio Podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. I'm your host, Daniel, and I'm joined, as always, by Miss Allie.
What up?
What is up?
Living the dream, man.
One day at a time, right? So, New Year's has passed. The last episode came out on New Year's.
Yep.
So why don't we start with what you mentioned previously, with some resolutions? Or no, I'm sorry. I have resolutions. Allie has something else.
Mine are intentions, because I'm fancy and pretentious.
I love it, though.
I just like the concept of intentions better. Yeah. I don't know.
No, I'm
yeah.
Well, but you know what they say about intentions?
No.
The road to hell is paved in them.
Oh, that's true. Well,
oh, no, I'm sorry. That's good intentions. So if you have bad intentions, then you should be solid.
I mean...
Anyway.
I'll probably try to get some more tattoos, so, if you ask my mom, those are bad intentions.
Oh, shit, dude. I think anybody's parents would
Sorry,
agree
Mom.
with you. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm all about it. My brother is slowly, Joseph, another person that may or may not show up on the podcast. We'll call him a producer. How about that? He basically just chooses to, he's like, look at this. I got this little tattoo the other day, and it's like, I don't even know, not legitimately, but like a Tweety bird or something. And I'm like, why'd you get that? I don't know. I just wanted to.
Yeah. I'm got a few of those.
I have to say, though, getting tattoos is completely an addiction.
It really is. When you're there, you're like, what do I get next?
Yeah.
When can I come back?
Yeah. I don't know what it is about that, but oh, man.
I finally, a few years ago, just gave up and started a list. And with having a half sleeve now, I have a lot of things checked off the list, but the list is still going.
So do you have any kind of rules for tattoos in regards to okay, I'm going to write it on my list and then it has to stay on there and seem like a good idea?
Not really, because usually by the time I put it on the list, it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time anyway.
Got you.
So
the list is confirmed.
Yeah, or just stuff to consider.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'm like, this is too similar to this. I don't need both of them kind of thing. But I don't know.
Gotcha. Huh.
Just kind of, yeah.
I'm looking for my next one. But since Megan just got one, obviously we can only afford one tattoo every quarter or something like that. So
resolutions, intentions,
man.
We got sidetracked.
Let's do this thing.
I've got a few, but most of them are just boring, try to floss and, be a decent person and wash my face at night.
Try to floss as in, dance?
No,
just kidding. You're like, fuck you.
Oh, my God. Didn't I just say the other day, if I never see someone floss again, that'll still be too soon?
Dude, I saw some, robot on Reddit that, somebody, got to floss at, whatever, so many flosses a minute or something. It was,
my God.
It's just, something that I'm like, man, why don't you, put your time into something more productive, right? But, anyway.
I'm gonna try to finally manage all my online passwords and quit using the same shit for, every site. So I'm gonna use, LastPass or something and, really... Do you use anything like that?
I actually don't, which I should probably have my ass kicked for not doing that.
Yeah.
But
I make unique stuff for, PayPal and the bank and stuff, but... Anything else, I'm like, if you figure out my Twitter password, you can have everything else, I guess,
That's my thing, is because I think there was actually something that popped up with Google that, all the saved passwords and stuff, that it analyzes them, and it's you have repeat passwords and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if somebody, cracks my Pinterest account, I don't really care.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, you're going to have some really good recipes, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't put personal stuff on Pinterest.
No, yeah.
But anyway.
And unsubscribe from emails, because I'm kind of an email newsletter junkie, so I really like getting emails. Not even marketing stuff, but especially a ton of book websites, and they're all really active. So if I'm subscribed to 20 book websites that send me 5 emails each a week, holy shit.
Oh no,
you know?
I feel you, and which we were actually talking about. Speaking of emails,
Yeah.
I signed up for I think it was a New York Times free membership or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Did we talk about how expensive that shit was? It's
yes.
like $104 a year.
It's $15 a month, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
$15 a month?
Yeah.
So this was saying something like...
You might get a break if you pay for
well,
it yearly.
it might have been a different website, though,
okay.
kind of thing. But this was, I mean, even at $104 a year, I'm like, I know it's only $2. Oh, it's $2 a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't, I don't access that many articles. And most of the time, you can find some kind of other article that just whatever
regurgitates it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. What else?
So password management.
Yeah.
Emails.
I'm trying, like, as far as book stuff goes, I'm trying to, like, write myself a little mini review of every book I read, because otherwise I can look back and be like, man, I loved that book. Why?
Yeah. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah. And then also, I'm going to try to read about a quarter of the books I read this year. I'm going to aim for them to be nonfiction.
Gotcha.
Like, actually, like, set a goal for that.
Yeah.
And then maybe even, like, really break it up, like, every fourth book be nonfiction or sort of.
Yeah.
And take a lot more notes just overall when I read, like, just because that'll make me a better writer to go back and be like, I liked how this was phrased. I liked how they explained this.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Man, you ought to, I mean, maybe not like a blog or something, but if you're going to put the time in, you might as well
put it somewhere.
Put it somewhere for,
I might.
Whatever.
I've got a blog. I just never put
or just
anything
send
on
it to me and I'll read it and be like, okay, I want to read this or I don't want to read this.
Like, I need to convince you of more books.
Yeah. I forgot your, Allie's input on my to be read list was basically putting it on steroids. Yeah. So, but, I mean, those are solid intentions though.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're not bad. I mean, they're not like anything crazy. Like, I'm not trying to like do a triathlon this year or something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you said that you normally would, compartmentalize them under.
Yeah, I did. I did. I've got concrete ones and then I've got abstract ones.
Gotcha.
So like, abstract is take a lot of notes while reading.
Yeah.
And concrete is read 50 or more books and a quarter of those be nonfiction. So like sorted like that.
Yeah. Which honestly, geez, now that I think about it, we should probably have like resolutions for the podcast.
Probably.
Which we kind of we kind of talked about it a little bit, but we really want to get more listener engagement. And I hate using that term because it's such a fucking like buzzword for like marketing and shit.
Yeah, but that's what it is though.
Yeah, but we also want, I mean, basically the audience, we view the audience as the third member of the podcast kind of thing. So I mean, like, people hitting us up with ideas for the podcast or just input, criticism, stuff like that. I mean, we absolutely love that stuff because that means that you're actually listening and that means that you actually care. Yeah. And we love that.
And I'm covering one from my friend Nicole who wanted me to talk about lottery winners who are batshit insane. Yeah. And so I'm covering that today. Woohoo.
Hashtag what up, Nicole? Yeah. Well, rock and roll, man. Do you have any more intentions?
I saw this. This is so hippy dippy bullshit, but I still like it.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of somebody like choosing a word of the year and like that kind of being their thing?
So wait, are you choosing it for the upcoming year?
Yeah, not to like reflect on last year, because mine from last year would probably be read.
Yeah. So I have not actually heard of that. So
well. There's a whole like, and it's a lot of it's really religious people. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it is like faith or pray or something like that, and that's not me. Yeah. But this one girl that I found, she has been doing it, God, for like 15 years or something, and she posted her last 10, and they're really hippy dippy. So here are hers.
All right.
Brave, grow, balance, heal, graduate, flow, thrive, bloom, grow again. Higa, however you say that word. Higa. That's like the like simple cozy life. It's like a Netherlands thing or something. And then this year's is cultivate. Okay. So like those are all very like
I like balance.
Balance is good, grow is good, and I kept like dwelling on this, and the other day, like the end of Friday, I was complaining to a couple coworkers. I was like, I've been trying to come up with a word. It's the 3rd and I don't have one and I'm mad. And I was like, I'm giving up. Yeah. And then like later that night, I was not giving up, and I just like Googled like lists of best words of the year kind of thing, and I ended up going with light. I think that's gonna be okay. So like, just kind of take things more lighthearted and maybe try to not get so obsessive about certain topics and stuff. And I don't know, just be like, I think light is just a good thing.
No, honestly, and
it could be a lot more than just that, but
no, I completely agree with you. And honestly, I feel like everybody should take a page out of that book. Yeah. In that people need to not take themselves as seriously.
Dude, lighten the fuck up.
Yeah, because like, we are in a place that like, you can't joke. No. You can't joke anymore. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not saying like...
No,
but... You know what I mean. Everybody knows what I mean. Yeah. I'm not going to elaborate, but... So, for my resolutions, I really just have probably... God, mine are like so ridiculous.
Quit dropping F-bombs in front of the kid.
Yeah, so it's really funny that you would say that. Yeah. My mom actually lauded me the other day and was like, she was like, Daniel, you've done so much better. Your dad is just totally doing horrible because my dad just drops them like left and right. And so now I can jump on the bandwagon and be like, Dad. Yeah. Small ears, you know, and then I just basically mouthed the word fuck. Sure. But whatever.
Yeah.
So one of mine would be, one of my resolutions for 2020 is to read more. Yeah. Like just in general, I would really like, and this is like, Allie's gonna completely laugh at
No, listen, everybody has different goals, and like I'm in a bunch of different like reading groups and stuff online, and like somebody the other day was like, my goal for the year is to read 12 books, and I'm like, that's huge for so many people.
That is my goal.
See,
like seriously,
but a book a month is so much more than most people read.
Yeah,
you know, like there's a ton of people that don't even know the last book they've read, you know?
And you're right. And you're right. And
plus having a doable goal is great. Like if you're like, I'm going to read 100 books this year, you'd be like, fuck, I'm 3 behind already. Yeah. You know?
Like, well, and that's the thing. Once you like take into consideration like how much you'd have to like, I mean, you were a fast reader.
Well, that and I was unemployed for most of that last year.
But I'm just saying, like, in regards to just being able to complete, like, it's not unheard of for you to complete a book, you know, every week or every couple weeks, right? Yeah. So, but for me, it's like, I mean, shit, dude, I get 2 hours most days, which if Finn decides to nap. Yeah. And I can do whatever activities during that time kind of thing. Yeah. And I do have to say a lot of that time, probably about 60 to 75% ends up in video games. Sure. So, but it's also something that I really love.
Well, and you got to have your downtime and like, and plus for a lot of people reading kind of feels like a chore or like homework or something kind of. Yeah. And if it feels like that, you don't want to spend your only spare couple hours of the day doing work.
For sure. For sure. So I feel like if that's how it feels to read, you're reading the wrong book.
Yes. Yes. And there's a lot to be said of reading like heavy nonfiction and stuff, or like literary fiction or stuff that you don't necessarily enjoy but is an important read. But like if that's all you read, lighten up.
100%. Yeah. Something else that I would really like to do is since I'm basically a stay-at-home dad at this point, I really want to try to get Finn out and experiencing more stuff this year. Because he's kind of gotten to the point to where he's fun to take out. Yeah. Because it's like vicariously getting to experience something for the first time.
Well, he's such a happy little kid. Like, everybody loves him.
He normally does pretty well in public. Yeah. So...
there's a lot of kids' activities, man. Like the library has a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Knox County has, I think, 18 library branches. Yeah. So like, there's a lot.
Oh yeah. Probably 2 more. One thing I would like to do is start learning Korean.
Cool.
Once I finish my continued education credits, which I just said that, and I completely forgot to pull that list.
Damn.
But that's all right. Well,
maybe next
it's not
week.
going anywhere.
Write that down.
That's a good point.
Do it next week.
Yes. Let me type this up real quick.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Does Megan know much Korean?
No, Megan knows very little.
Okay.
Honestly, about as much as I know.
Yeah.
Which is like, hi, I love you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Where's the bathroom?
Well, honestly, I don't even know that.
Okay.
I know, are you hungry?
Yeah.
But,
that's an important one. Duolingo, man, I've heard a lot of people have good experience with it.
Yeah. Well, and so we have Rosetta Stone.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And it was just one of these things that Megan is not very patient.
Yeah.
And I am like eons in front of her in regards to patience.
Yeah.
And so I'm down to like sit there and try to do something over and over and over and over and over until I succeed.
See, and I'm not good at that. Like,
Yeah.
I tried guitar and I was like, I hate practicing.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Yeah.
And I've tried learning languages a couple times and like maybe I'll get around to that, but man, I just don't like it. I don't absorb it very well.
Yeah.
It makes me feel stupid, which is really irritating because I always grew up really book smart. So like school just always came easy to me. And then there was foreign language and I was like, this is hard. This is bullshit.
Dude, it really is crazy.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of learning.
I have so much respect
opinion.
for people that can speak more than one language. Like I was just telling a friend last night, like I just can't do it. And when you hear someone else that can just like instantly switch back and forth, I'm like, how you do that?
Yeah. One of my buddies is fluent in English and Spanish, and then another my cousin's fluent in French.
God.
And English, and it's like, dude, it's so cool to like hear, me ask her a question. I mean, she taught French in high school.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool. I'd call her, with super stupid, translations kind of thing just to get her to do it.
My coworker the other day mentioned something about English being his second language, and I was like, "Are you serious?" Like,
really?
He speaks such good English. I never questioned it at all.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is obviously a little different, but are you familiar with the actor Tom Holland? The latest Spider-Man, basically.
Yeah.
This is me being like, hey, look how stupid I am. I didn't realize he was British because he has zero accent.
British people are so good at having
so
American
crazy.
accents.
Yeah.
Like,
it's super crazy.
Hugh Laurie, the guy that plays House.
Yeah.
I always forget that he's British, and then I see him in an interview, and I'm like, what are you doing with that accent?
Yeah,
like, who are you trying to be?
Who are you trying to fool?
And then I'm like, oh, right, that's really how you talk.
So learn Korean,
cool.
and then,
or
at least start learning Korean.
Yeah.
And then past that, I really want to try to get better with Photoshop, or at least I guess GIMP.
Sure.
And the reason why is because I want to try to do more personalized, or not personalized, but I guess personalized posts for the podcast.
That'd be cool.
Because, like, for instance, and this is so stupid, but like I spent way too long trying to find clip art to put a Santa hat on the spaceman for Tether. And I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing possible.
Yeah.
Here, all these libraries exist out there in order to have this stuff so that people can Photoshop it really easily if they know how to do it.
Yeah.
And here I am over here, like, whatever.
And that's something I wish I had stuck with. I used to poke around in Photoshop, and I used to know a lot of it, and I've just forgotten it because it's been so long, you know? And,
but it's also, I mean, it's one of those things that it's practice.
Oh, yeah.
So, but
for some reason, I had the patience to
do that,
work on a Photoshop nonsense for hours, you know? Can't learn a language, but man, can I work on these pixels.
Dude, we've got some friends that Photoshop their Christmas card every year.
Man.
And it is the funniest thing because neither of them are good at Photoshop.
Yeah.
But they know that they're not good.
Yeah.
And it's just hilarious that they'll Photoshop their dogs and then them like in like Chichen Itza or something like that. And because they traveled there or something over the year because they do a shit ton of traveling. Yeah. But But yeah, I mean, like, obviously they didn't take a picture with them on top of one of the, like, you know, ruins or something. So, but,
oh, man.
Anywho.
Oh, and,
what's up?
Cancel corner for this week.
Oh, here we go.
I have decided people who still have their Christmas decorations up are fucking canceled. I'm so over it.
So in regards to Christmas decorations and just Christmas etiquette,
yeah,
I think that Christmas decorations should not be up before Thanksgiving.
That's fair.
And they should be taken down on or before New Year's. Or do you think
I'll let you even go to like maybe the 2nd.
The 2nd? Okay.
But like, take them down.
How about the week of New Year's?
Yeah. So that's what I keep being like, we're still on the week of New Year's, but I'm also like, it is the 5th when we're recording this. Like, take it the fuck down.
You've had your time. We actually, God, we got ours down really quick this year. I think we took ours down the 27th.
Yeah.
So, but
your
it was
neighborhood,
also because...
like everybody is down in your neighborhood except your next door neighbors. Theirs are still up, and I'm like, of course.
yeah.
It's always how it goes.
Of course. Yeah, but like, I'm like notorious for having like the Christmas blues.
Yeah.
And so it helps me have closure on Christmas to really get the shit put up quickly.
My mom takes hers down on Christmas Day, and I'm like, depressing. Mom, it's Christmas Day.
Yeah, enjoy Christmas Day.
Like when Christmas is done, she's just over it.
Yeah.
Like, and we always do our Christmas stuff on Christmas Eve, so like to her, Christmas Day just is a normal day kind of thing. So.
Gotcha. All right. Well, so we've covered intentions, we've covered resolutions. I believe it's time to hop right in.
Let's get to the news.
I want to start with something really light and amazing.
Yeah.
So, let me find. Of course, I can't find it now. Here we go. So. This one comes out of Tampa Bay, a Fox affiliate, Fox 13. Deputies search for burglar who broke into Bradenton home to suck victim's toes.
You love to see it.
Dude, I'm like, you know what? Our show is not about kink shaming, but at least it needs to be consensual. So, this dude breaks into this person's home. And they said the victim was sleeping in his bedroom on Christmas Eve, only to be awakened by a man sucking on his toes. So he woke up and this dude's like going down on his toes.
Imagine you wake up and you're like, what is that? What? Wait,
I don't have a cat. Gooba, get away. Oh my god. So
if I woke up to my cat licking my toes, I'd be real mad. But some dude broke into my house?
Dude, it gets better.
Oh no.
The victim asked the burglar what he wanted, telling him he didn't have any money.
I mean, it looks like he's got what he wanted.
Yeah, that's the best part. The man replied, he was, quote, there to suck toes.
What do you want? It's just a mouthful of feet. I'm good. This is fun.
Yeah, just go back to bed, man. That's when the victim punched the suspect in the mouth and forced the man to get out of his bedroom.
Sure.
So during this altercation, the victim wasn't happy with the little toe sucking. He went for the burglar wasn't happy with the little toe sucking. So he went for the victim's genitals.
Oh no!
And claimed that he had a gun, but there is no gun ever seen during the fight.
Excuse me. I've got a gun and I'm here to suck your
What? You're gonna let me suck your toes, and you're gonna like it. Oh
my god.
So the victim managed to kick the man out of the home and proceeded to repeatedly hit the suspect in the face.
Yep.
So the victim runs back in the house, calls 911. The dude runs out. The suspect runs out, jumps on top of the victim's car and stomps on his windshield until it breaks.
You bastard.
They show up, they being deputies. They attempted to track the suspect with a canine unit, but were unable to find him. The sheriff's office said DNA swabs were taken. The case is under investigation.
Oh my god.
There's a toe sucker at large in the
and you don't even know
Bay area. I love this. And I also love that they took DNA samples, I'm assuming, of the victim's toes.
Sure, yeah, the saliva.
Because he had to have saliva, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he was just gushing, like, saliva all over this man's toes.
I mean, just like, if you just, like, licked someone, like, on the arm, you could get their DNA from that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to really be slobbering.
But I like to think that he was. I mean, and the question was, and this is not covered in the article, was he going one toe at a time, or was he trying to get, like, multiple toes?
See, I don't know, like, toe sucking etiquette, I guess. I'm not sure what I guess people are into different things.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Some people might try to see how much foot they can put in their mouth.
Yeah.
Some people might want to really be delicate and go toe by toe.
Wait a second, you've never played How Much Foot?
That's so gross.
Oh my god, that is foul. But so yeah, if you are a listener and you are in the Tampa Bay area, heads up, keep your doors locked, hide your kids, hide your wives. There's a toe sucker at large.
Man, I've got a Florida story.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me get to my fuck, where'd it go? Come back, Florida story.
See, this is Tether Radio for you. We're really good at finding the stories and losing them.
I got too many notes this week. Leave me alone. Okay. Oh, I just thought this was Florida because it feels like Florida, but it's actually Massachusetts.
Ooh.
But it's still good. Massachusetts psychic and crystal light therapist arrested for trying to put a demon in a Barbie doll. This is from Jezebel.
Okay, wait a second.
Yeah. No, it's not the lemonade.
Can you please repeat that?
Sure, yeah, sure.
So, listen to this headline.
Massachusetts psychic and crystal light therapist arrested for trying to put a demon in a Barbie doll.
I love this.
Just having a completely normal one.
Welcome to the Tether Radio podcast.
My buddy sent me this, and he said, and I think I agree, if you trick someone this well, it should fucking be legal.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Don't be so damn gullible.
Yeah.
This coming from a completely gullible person.
Yeah.
Okay. The local police department had been investigating Tracy Milanovich, 37, who owns a psychic business. They were tipped off by this kid's mom. Tracy had convinced the mom that her daughter was possessed by a demon and that Tracy needed cash and household items in order to get the demon out. She was found to have taken, guess how much? Guess how much money?
$15.
$71,000 for her services. And also some towels and sheets. You got 71 grand out of this lady. Can't you go to Target and buy your own damn sheets? What are you doing? I require cash. Also, queen-size satin sheets would be good.
She's like, 75,000. Well, I've just got 71 in these sheets.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I was unclear whether she got it, like, I don't think it was a lump sum. I think it was a gradual,
gotcha,
like, I need more.
Yeah.
I don't know. The mother says that Tracy said her daughter was dead in God's eyes. That's pretty big.
Whoa.
And that she needed to buy her daughter's soul back before Tracy would, quote, take the demon and place it in a Barbie doll. Okay, but, like, what do you do with the Barbie once it's possessed?
Yeah, that's
because you can't just, like, yeet it into a pond and leave it. Like, demons don't like that shit, I don't think. They're gonna follow you around and, like...
So, not that I have any expertise in demonology.
Sure.
But it makes me think of The Conjuring.
Yeah.
That it's like they get it into things and then they like save it and just put it in like a safe space. And
that's what I was like, do you just bury this like under your peach tree and be like, I'll go get it when I need a demon, I guess?
Well, I think that they like actually had somebody come by and like bless the room and like all the, if you can't hear it.
Big ol' eye roll.
Big ol' eye roll. But I'm just saying like, I think like people that, I mean, I don't know where I fall on this stuff. I don't know if I believe in possession, but yeah, there's some weird unexplained shit, but this is she got charged with larceny, which I'm not sure what she stole. Like I don't know, intimidation of a witness and obtaining property over $250 by trick. Wait, that's a law.
That's a charge. I'm like, that's what I want to be arrested for. I want to trick someone into giving me too much money and then that come back and bite me.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I had a lot of questions that were not answered by this, but like
maybe it was the sheets.
It could have been the sheets.
Yeah.
I don't think she didn't steal them though. Like I think she was like, I demand sheets, and the lady was like, here are your sheets.
She's like, no, and the pillowcases, and she's like, no, you can have the sheets, but not the pillowcases.
But all the comments on Jezebel were very like, I don't really see what she did wrong legally.
Yeah,
and like. Also, you could argue that a lot of churches do this. Like, if you want to be saved, you have to tithe and stuff, you know?
Well, and hell, referring to either last episode or the episode before or whatever, what about that, the church, I don't know if they were necessarily, well, they were at least facilitating it, the fundraising to raise the daughter of those people. It's like, you know, there's some gray area in there that it's like, I'm sure some charges could be brought against, you know, some of these fools.
$71,000, dude.
That's insane.
That's a lot of money.
That is a shit ton of money.
Man.
That's crazy, though.
I got another weird one.
All right, that
also
going.
Feels like Florida, but also is not.
All right.
I just told my friend yesterday, I said, anytime I see a crazy-ass story, I think this is either Florida, and if it's not, it's Philadelphia. And I'm almost always right. Philadelphia is nuts.
Really?
Philadelphia is so nuts.
I wonder if there's something behind, like the whole Florida thing, the sunshine law stuff, which we've talked about.
Yeah, no, I think Philly's just wild.
Really? I mean, I know that one of my cousins actually just moved from Philadelphia to, I believe, Washington State.
Yeah.
And his wife, she was a real quick anecdote, because this is actually a kind of bizarre story. She was a principal of I believe a middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe a middle school. And this is like Philadelphia, inner city kind of stuff. The reason that they moved and that she left this job was because she was basically being assaulted by either a student or a parent weekly.
Yeah.
And the one that broke the camel's back was this grandmother brings her child to school, or her grandchild to school.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Take that back. She came to pick up the child, leaves with the child. Then she's like super fucked up on something.
Sure.
Has to pull over. The kid gets out of the car and goes because like the dad happened to like see them driving by or something. Gets with the dad, he leaves, grandmother gets back in her car, goes back to the school, and is like, I want to pick up my grandchild.
Oh my god, you just did. Did you forget?
Dude, so she shoves my cousin's wife or whatever onto the ground.
What?
And is like, no, you give me my child, or whatever. And she's like, you already fucking left with him. Lord. Like, we can show you security, footage, like... But it's just, dude, it's fucking next level.
It's always insane in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no shit, dude.
But this story is literally neither here nor there.
Yeah.
A man and a goat were taken on a terrifying 3-state drive after a carjacking in front of an adult video store.
What?
I'm like, this is clickbait, whatever, but I also always click it.
Yeah.
This is not clickbait. This is real.
God.
A man stole a pickup truck with a sleeping passenger and a goat inside it and drove it from Missouri to Oklahoma before releasing the terrified victim and animal and eventually being arrested. So, the driver of this truck went into the adult video store early on Wednesday, which was New Year's Day. Like, it's like, I'm going to say like 3 a.m. and you drive to the porn store and you leave your buddy in the car. You're like, hey, just hang out a little bit, pal. I'm going to go in and get us some Big Booty Bitches DVDs. I'll be right back out. Then we'll party.
Yeah.
So the passenger fell asleep. Like, I don't know how long the driver was in there. They were probably fucked up too. The passenger fell asleep. When he woke up, his buddy had not returned with the porn or whatever they were after.
Yeah.
Instead, a guy in a mask was driving the truck and was pointing a gun at his head. The suspect, 40-year-old Brandon Kirby, drove him 130 miles?
Wait, so you said there was a goat, right?
There's a goat. There was no explanation of why the goat was in the truck.
Wait.
But there was a goat in the truck.
So the hijacker brought the goat?
No, the goat was already there.
The goat was already there.
Yep.
Okay, so these dudes just do porn runs with
With their goat. I don't know what your plans were for New Year's Day, guys.
Dude, Bill Grogan's goat was pissed off.
So, he drove him 130 miles. He was taking meth while he was driving.
All right.
And he was pistol whipping and threatening the passenger. And when he finally let the passenger and the goat go, the cops came and arrested the guy. The Sand Springs Police Department said on Facebook, this is a quote.
Yeah.
Okay, 2020, it only took you 4.5 hours to get weird. Let's slow down on the carjacking goat napping calls for the remainder of the year.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
My Google Docs was like, carjacking goat napping not found. Did you mean carjacking kidnapping? And I was like, no, it's right.
Yeah, this is accurate.
This is accurate. Thanks, Google.
Add to dictionary. Oh, that's fucking incredible.
So good,
dude.
So good.
My god. All right. Let's see. Do we want? Where are we going to go from here?
I got a couple more weird things, but what do you got? Anything?
Do we want to keep it weird? I've got the internet history thing up. Do we want?
Yeah, go to that.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Is that cool? All right. So, we've got an unruly toddler downstairs. So I pulled this one. So Allie and I basically, we will try to aggregate topics from that week unless time is irrelevant, and then we'll throw it into like an evergreen topics kind of thing. Which we're always looking for more stuff to toss into that folder. And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to pull this one out of that due to starting a new year, and this is supremely relevant these days. But anyway, so this was from the Next Web, 5 milestones that shape 50 years of internet history. This was really kind of wild because if you don't know much about the history of the internet, man, I'm telling you, if there is anything that you use in your life on the reg, try to look past just using it and try to see how it actually works.
Yeah.
Because I feel like having just a basic understanding of stuff like that, it's always good to keep learning and knowing how things work, I guess.
Yeah.
Or in my opinion. So basically, 50 years ago, a UCLA computer science professor and his students sent the first message over the predecessor to the internet, a network called ARPANET. And so this was Leonard Kleinrock in 1969. Leonard Kleinrock and Charlie Klein sent Stanford University researcher Bill Duvall a 2-letter message, LO, L-O. And originally it was supposed to be sent meaning login, but packets were lost. Or I'm sorry, there was a computer crash sending this message, which I love that a 5-letter word was being sent, and it like completely crashed the computer back in 69. So the cool thing is this was the beginning of the internet, basically. So at this point, we have insane amounts of information being sent over multiple networks, and it makes up what we know as the internet.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing about all of this is how legislation, regulations, developments in technology, and just like crazy things that happen in order to bring someone's attention to whatever vulnerabilities or whatever.
Yeah.
So speaking of vulnerabilities, in 1978, they had an encryption failure that basically they were using this ARPANET, and a group of high school students were able to gain access to this like highly secured, but it wasn't at that point.
Yeah.
It was just, they didn't think that anybody had the means to access it.
Yeah.
But once you throw shit out on the internet, this is a lesson even in 2020, man.
Yep.
It is accessible by pretty much anyone if they know how to do it.
Yep.
But so basically what happened was there were 2 computer scientists, Vinton Cerf and Robert Kahn. And they suggested building encryption, but U.S. intelligence objected computers could, at this point, didn't really have enough processing power in order to even support like solid encryption. And that was kind of one of the reasons that the U.S. intelligence operations didn't, they didn't want this implemented, because it would make it slower. It would make it probably more prone to like failing or more computer crashes and stuff. And so this was basically what ended up happening is they pretty much forced people to start using passwords and stuff like that, because then we can lock it down to a degree kind of thing. And so in 1983, they considered the internet as we know it to be born. So many computers had to, I think this was it 70? No, I'm sorry. Getting a little ahead of myself. So many computers needed to communicate with each other to Open Systems Internet or Interconnection Standard, and so that was developed. It was considered inefficient and difficult to scale. So basically, what ended up happening was, going back to Cerf and Kahn, the two previously mentioned computer scientists, they developed what's known as the Transmission Control Protocol / Internet Protocol, or TCP/IP.
Okay.
And so what this protocol allowed the internet to be really fast, reliable, and it could be scaled up to the degree to where we are these days, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So everybody was all cool with that and rock and roll. But what ended up happening is lots of people started getting on the internet. So by 1996, the internet boasted more than 73,000 servers. So I mean, we're talking 13 years from the protocol being formed or whatever. So this was really funny to me though. So at this point in 96, 22% of surveyed Americans were considered to be like online.
Wow. Okay.
But what they found worried members of Congress and their constituents, particularly the rapidly growing amount of pornography. And I was like, you know what, dude? This is like fucking America.
Yeah,
man. This is America. It's always been about sex, and it always will be about sex. So Congress passed the Communications Decency Act, which regulated indecency and obscenity in cyberspace.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court struck down portions of the law on free speech grounds and basically left in place Section 230. Now, these 26 words really help to shape where the internet is today.
Yeah.
No provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. Now, let me break it down real quick.
Yes, please.
Basically, the people providing internet to, internet providers would not be responsible for what users were posting.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So it now everybody's like, this rock and roll, a win for free speech and everything.
Yeah.
But this literally is also what allowed social media sites like Facebook and Twitter to operate largely without regulation.
Yep.
So at this point, and still to this day, the internet is not considered to be a public, what is the term? Like public utility.
Okay.
So at like phone lines are.
Right.
So they don't fall under the same regulation.
Yeah.
Even though, let's be honest, it probably needs to be.
Yeah, it should be.
I mean, the internet is way too ubiquitous.
Yeah.
And like everybody uses it pretty much.
Yeah.
So last two things. The US government steps up. And what basically was happening at this point was URLs were very, very early on, and they needed so internet protocol or IPs. Every device using the internet required one, and because they had to be able to track all this shit. And so basically what happened was they needed to have a database that would link an IP to actual words for like a website.
Okay.
For instance, are you going to remember 192.168.2.201?
Right.
Or are you going to remember reddit.com?
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which was really cool. But they were like, oh, this needs to be decentralized because nobody needs that much power to be able to be directing internet traffic to wherever they see, you know?
Yeah.
Because you could potentially do that.
Yeah.
If somebody types in Reddit and you actually go to whatever other website, twitter.com or some shit.
Yeah.
So in the 60s, this was actually dealt with by one person, which is hilarious. And he had a floppy disk that had all of it on it. So obviously this was not the best thing to be happening, and that amount of power shouldn't be held by just one person.
Yeah.
So the U.S. Department of Commerce laid out a plan for what's known as ICANN, or the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. Mm-hmm. And so this entity would manage internet addresses around the world. And so for 20 years, they did just that. And now it's been decentralized even more. And, so, which is, decentralization is where it's at. Nobody should have this kind of power, period. Now, fast forward to 2010. Now, this was really cool and super relevant, in my opinion. I'm assuming you saw the headlines about, the attack on Iran. Yeah. Or Iran. I don't know.
Maybe Iran?
Iran. Sorry. Iran. Anyway, so in June 2010, cybersecurity researchers revealed the discovery of a sophisticated cyber weapon called Stuxnet, which was designed specifically to target equipment used by Iran's efforts to develop nuclear weapons. It was among the first known digital attacks that actually caused physical damage. So basically, they had this malware or whatever that would cause computer crashes or whatever misinformation to be, to thwart Iran's efforts to develop nuclear weapons or whatever. Yeah. Now, the crazy thing about this is the latest strike on Iran is, I think they promised, or Iran's government came back and was like, oh, basically brace yourselves, we're going to come back. Yeah. Fists up. Yeah. So could World War III be fought completely online? That is the question that I mean,
have you been on Twitter? It's going. It's happening.
It's already here. But I just think that that's a really fascinating, and I'm sorry, if you're still listening, I apologize. That was kind of a deep dive on that. But I got super nerdy into this shit.
It's interesting, though.
And it was just really neat to see how far we've come in such a short amount of time. Yeah. We're basically talking about, we are talking about 50 years. Yeah. So the internet is really, even though people say America as a nation is young, the internet is a fucking infant. Oh, yeah. So it's just, absolutely insane. And it's going to be interesting.
If it were Yoda, it would still be a baby.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Baby Yoda. Which I'm just gonna give a real quick plug, and I can't even remember what it was. Bad lip reading, and it was,
oh my god,
thump you with my stick or something like that. Look it up. That's it. It makes for not very good radio to talk about it, but if you're familiar with the bad lip reading people, holy shit, it's fucking hilarious.
It's so good. Like, probably if you just search bad lip reading Yoda, it'll come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where regulation goes moving forward, just because, man, the internet is a fucking trash fire. Oh, yeah. in some places. Yeah. And in some places it's fucking super useful. Yeah. But yeah. And Twitter, I'm looking at you in regards to the trash fire. And
dude,
Facebook.
I got on Twitter one day this week, and I was on there for a minute and a half, and I was like, even the comedians that I follow are talking about Iran, and I'm here for critters and jokes. So I just logged right back off.
Dude, Twitter just turns into an echo chamber after big events and shit. And it's just like, dude, my God, like, give me some new content.
Right?
Jeez.
Like, show me some pictures of some birds. I don't know.
I want to see a puppy falling on its face and like doing a backflip or playing with a butterfly or something.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. But anyway, so that has been your internet update from Tether Radio.
I've got a little bit of an internet related thing about Pokemon Go.
Hell yeah.
This feels really outdated, but the documents from the government just came out, so like, yeah, it is 3 years outdated, but like, it is news.
Yeah.
This article's from New York Times, and it's called Peek-a-Who, How Pokemon Go Confused the Canadian Military. Did you see anything about this?
I saw your headline, and I was like, I'm not going to look at it because...
Dude, it sounds
funny. Pretty incredible.
So, back in July of 2016, people in Canada just started driving onto Canadian military bases at weird hours and wandering onto government property and looking at their cell phones. And the military was like, the fuck is this? So Pokemon Go had come out, and now, 3 years later, Canadian military officials have shared internal documents with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation News Network that show how the military, both curious and confused, reacted to the wildly popular app. Major Jeff Monahan, an official based in Kingston, Ontario, wrote in an email, "Please advise the commissionaires that apparently Fort Frontenac is both a Pokegym and a Pokestop. I will be completely honest in that I have no idea what that is."
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. So, a security expert at a military base in Borden, Ontario wrote in an email, "We should almost hire a 12-year-old to help us out with this."
Dude,
right?
To be honest with you,
get you some consultants.
Yeah, like seriously, bring somebody in that actually knows what the fuck they're talking about and doing.
Fuck a lemonade stand, man. Get out there and make that hustle, 12-year-olds.
There you go.
So, weeks after the app became available, Canadian officials noticed an increase in suspicious activity. One woman was found on a military base as 3 children with her climbed on tanks. She was playing Pokemon Go.
I feel like once you saw tanks... Like,
don't let your kids climb on
it. Well, not only that, but I feel like I would do a quick about face.
I would be like, "Oh, I'm out of my zone.
Yeah,
this isn't for me.
I probably shouldn't be here."
The police also responded to a vehicle that was acting suspiciously in a parking lot on a military base in Nova Scotia just to find a bunch of Pokemon chasers. And another man was stopped on a military base. He was also using the app and told officials that he was trying to get more points than his children.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
This is so good. Shortly after the app was made available, the Canadian Armed Forces issued a public warning, urging civilians to avoid military property while searching for Pokemon. Soon after, the Canadian Forces National Investigation Service sent a criminal intelligence advisory to all military police officers. It has been discovered that several locations within D&D/CAF establishments are host to game landmarks, including Pokestops and gyms, and its mythical digital creatures, Pokemon.
Mythical digital creatures? I love the military explanation, though.
I love it. You know, you got some, 45-year-old who only, writes on pencil on paper. Yeah. And is like, I don't know what a Pokemon is, but I'm getting them.
Yeah. This totally... I had a discussion with your husband, actually.
Oh, boy.
That we were talking about when there was supposed to be the raid on Area 51.
Yeah.
That... I would love to have been a fly on the wall in the briefing room that it's like, all right... There's a bunch of weebs out there, and what they're gonna do?
Naruto run. Yeah, I don't like it.
No, they're gonna do this thing called the Naruto run. This is what it looks like. Be on the lookout. It's just and having to take this shit completely serious. Yeah, it's incredible.
Sir, Captain, what is a weeb?
Yeah, exactly.
So, officials in North Bay filed a complaint with Niantic, the gaming startup that made Pokemon Go with Pokemon, stating that a Pokestop location on the base would increase traffic and negatively affect the base's mission. Other military officials were more optimistic about the increased foot traffic. Maybe some extra people will visit the museum. The app assured new users that Pokemon can be found on every corner of the earth, and that quickly caused problems. So basically people were like, oh, Pokemon are everywhere. I'm gonna go to the base.
Jeez, dude.
And then some other countries had reacted. Officials in Saudi Arabia called the app un-Islamic, and those in Bosnia warned players to avoid looking for the creatures near landmine left over from the 90s.
Oh my god.
Like, good luck catching your Gengar or whatever, but, like, watch out for landmines, y'all.
Dude, you know what this kind of reminds me of is when Apple launched their Maps app.
Yeah?
And, like, people started ending up in, like, deserts and shit and, like, running out of gas trying to get to areas because, like, or, like, driving into areas that just they couldn't really traverse or whatever. It's just like, dude, it's incredible. It's awesome. Incredible how, like, blindly some people will, like, follow shit. You know?
Yeah.
And with, like, complete and utter lack of thought. But pretty fucking incredible.
I thought that was a fun article.
Yeah, totally.
And, like, all the quotes are actual, like, government documents.
Yeah.
So funny.
Quotes from the actual government. Pretty incredible. All right, so where are we gonna go from here?
I have a little quick shit.
Sure.
I just like finding articles that show that millennials are not the worst. And there was an article that I found, it was new to me, but it came out in 2018, saying that modern dads are spending 3 times as much time with their children as mid 2 generations ago.
Hey, man, you're looking at one of them. Which that really is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it said a study showed that 43% of fathers in 1982 admitted they'd never changed a diaper. Dude, and today that number is down to about 3%.
I wish that I had, like, a buck for people that came in the bar.
Yeah.
And, like, would find out that I was taking care of Finn for, you know, the majority of the time.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, man, you know, I've got, like, 3 or 4 kids, and I've never changed a diaper.
I'm imagining one specific person saying I have 3 or 4 kids because they don't even know because they're so removed from their own children.
Dude, no, it's like completely. I mean, like which obviously everybody grew up different, kind of thing. Sure. And my dad, I don't think that he was like super involved with us as small children.
Yeah.
For the sole reason, and I totally am giving my dad an out, they had some financial troubles and stuff, him getting laid off and stuff like that when we were little kids, and so he was just hustling to try to make ends meet kind of thing. Yeah. But I do have to say, this happened, and kudos to you, Mickey Bradley. He actually came home from a business trip one time and picked me up. And I started crying because I didn't know who he was. Oh. And he literally quit that job because of that. Like, so that he could be around home, like, more. Yeah. So, yeah, man, pretty crazy. Yeah. But yeah, that's fucking incredible news.
It was really good.
Like, yeah.
I've never really heard of this site. It's called Motherly, so it's mother.ly is the actual domain.
Megan sees articles sends me stuff on that all the time. It's actually pretty good.
Well, it was a pretty cool article, and it was really detailed, and it had a lot of links to actual studies. Like, it wasn't just someone making up nonsense.
A blog or something.
But it was it was so positive. Like, it was saying research shows that when dads dress, diaper, and bathe their babies, their relationships grow stronger as the kids grow up, which makes sense. I mean, but it was so nice. Like, it was just such... And it's good news. I love finding good news.
Dude, I know, seriously.
We gotta find more of that.
We gotta find more uplifting shit. But yeah, it's really funny because I think that generations ago, taking care of kids was seen as this, like, super feminine whatever thing. Oh yeah. And I mean, like, my parents have never, I was not brought up this way, that it's like, dude, I do the vast majority of cooking and cleaning in the house and stuff. And you know why? Because we're a fucking team. The wife. And like, yeah. Exactly. It's because I don't have a penis. No. but no, it's just one of those things that I'm just like, fuck it. Like, whatever the norm is, you know. It's only the norm because a lot of people fucking adhere to it. Yeah. It doesn't mean that it has to be. Yeah. So.
No, this article went on and was like talking about how, like, the men doing more of what was traditionally thought of as feminine housework, cleaning and cooking and, you know, childcare and stuff.
Yeah.
That men doing more of that is giving their kids such a better example, because it's showing girls that men and women are equal, and it's showing boys that adulting is adult work, not just the mom's work or the dad doesn't have to be the breadwinner and the mom the house cleaner, you know.
Hey,
I'll
be the first to say it. Megan is the breadwinner in this family. I'd say that in regards to wearing the pants, I'm in the right leg, she's in the left leg. But no, but no, it really is kind of cool how all of that not only has evolved, but is still evolving to where there's, it's becoming more normal. Yeah. I mean, for stay-at-home dads and for, you know, working women and stuff like that. So that's awesome.
It was really good.
So I have a little quick one. That this was like hard pivot, but I just thought this was bizarre, and I didn't get to look into it super in depth, but and I pulled it from this. I've never heard of this magazine.
Oh boy.
So XXL magazine. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of that.
It makes me think, just looking at like stuff that's coming up in the in the margins for I don't even know. I don't know. I'll put Allie on looking.
Okay, I said because I was hesitating before what I was going to say, but I thought it was a Black People magazine, and it is.
Is it?
It's hip hop news, rap videos, rap music videos, or reviews, rapper interviews, hip hop on a higher level.
Gotcha.
So I probably shouldn't call it black, but like it's more black based
target market kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's been around since 97. Like it's been around a while.
Well, and I thought I'd heard of it, and now that I think about it, I think it has been due to like rap news kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty big. Like I'm gonna say maybe they're the Pitchfork but of rap.
Gotcha.
Maybe something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the toy company Hasbro.
They have 2.5 million followers on Twitter, so they're something.
Yeah. The toy company Hasbro has now officially purchased Death Row Records. I was like,
that's normal. That's very normal.
I saw that. Well, then I started reading a little bit more into it, and I was like, well, this is kind of weird. But so they purchased it for $3.8 billion. In an all cash transaction.
Billion?
It says literally in an all cash transaction valued at approximately $3.8 billion.
Man.
So I thought that was kind of weird to a degree, but I also don't. I'm sure that if Joseph was on here, I don't know if you can shed any light in regards to whatever, if that would be a red flag or not. But
I don't know. I mean,
it's just kind of strange that it would be. I understand like hundreds of thousands maybe in cash.
Well, I think I think when they word it that way, they mean actual money, whether it's green cash money versus like I wrote you a check or I wired you money.
Well,
instead of it being a it's
like
it's worth $3 billion, but it's shares or it's property or it's partnership in a business. Like this is saying it's actual money.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm picturing duffel bags of cash.
Oh no, I totally want to picture that. It's like, all right, well, bring in the 18 wheelers that there's like 30 of them with cash just piled to the ceilings. Yeah. But 3.8 billion, that's so much money.
Oh, man.
But so if you don't know, if you're not that familiar with Death Row Records, Suge Knight and Dr. Dre actually started Death Row Records in the 90s.
Kind of a big deal.
The super big deal. Tupac was on it. Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg. Just like West Coast rap was like, it was the pinnacle West Coast rap, man. I feel like all of the good West Coast rap from the 90s, they all had like platinum chains that said like Death Row or something like that.
Yeah.
But just kind of a weird acquisition, I guess. But yeah, I was trying to figure out like what their, I don't know, man. I swear, I feel like businesses and corporations these days are just
it's so sketchy, all of it.
Well, it's so sketchy, and just like if you really look at it, like there's only like there, not one. There's like 5 big shell corporations
that own everything.
Fucking everything. It's like the Unilevers and Palmolive, Colgate or whatever, and like all that shit. But yeah, just kind of a bizarre headline, I guess. So if you're looking into Death Row Records and stuff, and you figure out there's some kind of weird reason that Hasbro would want them, sure, why not? Shoot us an email, because I would love to have a little light shed on it.
Please tell us why.
Yeah.
Man, did you hear about Kevin Spacey's new?
Yes, please, yeah.
So
yeah, let's launch into that, because that was fucking crazy.
I guess I gotta get the old tinfoil hat back out. But I think a lot of us heard about Kevin Spacey's first hit. I mean, the first case of a Spacey accuser dying earlier this year.
Yeah.
Linda Culkin was 59 and was struck by a car in, I think, February, but some accounts say May. All this shit's really hard to find news on.
Yeah.
Which makes me suspicious.
Yeah.
But the news story said the like circumstances of her death were unclear. Like, one article said that she walked in front of a car and the car swerved to not hit her, but he hit another car head on, but they're not sure how she died. So it was really weird. It was I couldn't find much clear stuff about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, she died earlier this year. A second accuser who wished to remain anonymous died, quote, mysteriously. And then the LA prosecutors dropped his case, with the DA's office saying that the allegations couldn't be proven without the accuser's participation. And I found a article about that whole thing on CBS News.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Ari Ben has died by suicide. Sure he has.
Yeah. I think you misread.
Epsteined it?
He died by suicided.
Yeah. Spacey released another one of his weird ass videos on YouTube on Christmas Eve.
Oh, I heard it.
Called "Kill Them with Kindness," and the next day this guy comes up dead.
I actually heard the clip. Yeah. It's weird because he's
still trying to be Frank Underwood.
Yeah.
And if I was whoever owns the rights to House of Cards, I'd sue his fucking pants off.
Dude, Kevin Spacey, that's a weird motherfucker.
Well,
it's got some skeletons in the closet.
Also, like, the whole thing makes me feel like this is a really, really big failure of a weird viral marketing campaign for something. But, like, I know it's not.
Wait, so what part? Or, like all
what if any of these people aren't real and didn't get killed? Like, kind of.
Whoa,
I'm not trying to Sandy Hook this.
Let me shuffle some papers around, get my tinfoil.
Well, I know this most recent guy that died is real. Like, he's like a famous person on his own. But the other two, like, the stories were weird and stuff, and the second guy was never even named.
And you said that there's not a shit ton of information out there, kind of thing.
This stuff's hard to find, and the very few articles that I could find kind of overlapped with each other, where I was like, you absolutely used each other as your source but didn't name it, but also what was the original source? It was really weird.
So
and
sorry, go ahead.
Spacey was a known buddy of Epstein. I'm just fucking saying,
dude. I know, like,
telling you, he was all mixed up in Epstein shit. He was going to the island. He was on the private jet.
Yes. I completely.
This whole thing,
dude,
man, it's huge.
This Epstein shit. I hope it never fucking goes away.
I hope it eventually goes away, because so many people go to prison for it. That's what I hope.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I hope it doesn't get swept under the rug. I hope it gets resolved.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I knew what you meant.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, man, that is just some absolute wild shit.
Oh, and the family of that second guy that died, the massage therapist, his family has filed to dismiss the case with prejudice, which means it can't ever be refiled.
I'm telling you, dude, there are. I know there's a lot of good lawyers out there, but damn, man, it's
sketchy, dude.
It's all
severely
so sketchy, man. It is super sketchy.
I don't trust any of it.
So you made a passing comment about how the two a couple sources that you found it sounded like they were almost using each other.
Well, I found one from AOL News and then one from CBS News. The CBS one was pretty legit, but like I found a few from sites I hadn't really heard of or didn't know much about, and a couple were like. There was one from what seemed to be just an independent site that maybe is some guy's blog, but he like hosts his own domain or whatever, called something like Law Enforcement Today.
Yeah.
But it felt very tinfoil hatty.
Well, so this was actually covered on a recent No Agenda.
Oh, yeah?
That they were talking about how some of these big news organizations will actually almost like not plant. Because it's not like they're completely fabricating
like how map makers do, where they put like have you ever heard about that?
Huh.
There's this whole thing called paper towns where on a map someone would put a fake town so that if someone else copied their map and they put that fake town, they knew you copied my map.
So this
and they could call bullshit on it. Same sort of thing.
Well, so this was actually more so that the big news organizations aren't the fall men. So that the smaller ones are. So what they'd say is they'd give a lead to whatever county news, and then they would use that source as their source
to say, I didn't come up with this.
Well, if it ended up being a bullshit story, then it's like, well, we were just
that's on county news, not me. Yeah.
And it's like I wouldn't put it past them.
Dude, I mean, fuck. And the whole it's weird, man.
That's super weird. That's super weird.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Like,
I don't think. Well, I don't believe in coincidences at this point.
3 of your accusers died, all of them in weird ways, in the same year? No.
Yeah, it's just
Anyway, also, somebody write something cool on my gravestone because I'll probably be suicided over bringing this to light.
Yeah, right. Jeez. Man.
Please put on my tombstone that Epstein didn't kill himself.
That's what I was going to say. Which, by the way, I told Allie about this, and my brother had told me about it. I feel like I need to buy this and just wear it next year to keep it alive. But there was a sweatshirt that my brother told me about that it said, it's beginning to look a lot like ... and then at the bottom, Epstein didn't kill himself. I was like, my God, that is amazing use of that fucking phrase. But I really do. I hope it gets resolved, and I hope that
I hope a lot of big people go down for it.
I completely hope that.
Yeah,
because I'm sick of
who are actually guilty. I don't just want big people to go down. Like I want justice to be served.
Exactly. Because there were all sorts of victims. There are still victims, and it's just these elite people that think that they're untouchables need to fucking get riled up, dude. Yeah. So, or not riled up, but they need to have the rug pulled out from under them, and reality fucking hits hard kind of thing. So, having said that, do you have any more about the Spacey stuff?
No, I'm done with Spacey. I've just got my lottery thing.
Okay.
Woohoo.
So, I'll go through this one really quickly, and then we can wrap with your the lottery stuff.
Cool.
So we don't want to disappoint Nicole.
Yes.
So this was kind of weird because it was a Fox News article that came across. Body identified as missing Alabama woman who sent worried texts after leaving bar with 2 men. There wasn't a whole lot of information, but basically what ended up happening is this lady, Peyton Houston, texted a friend that she could be, quote, in trouble after leaving a Birmingham bar with 2 men last month. So, super fucked. I hate that here we just talked about like trying to get uplifting news, but like, damn, there's a lot of darkness in this world.
There's important news out there.
Yeah. But, this was really weird because she was basically found they found her body behind an unoccupied home, and she was wrapped up in some type of fabric, they said.
Yeah.
But that was kind of all that they had in the Fox News stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I fell down the comment section of Reddit, and people were talking about how the local Alabama Birmingham news, they actually had a lot more information on it.
Yeah.
So she was said to have left on her own volition with 2, quote, heavyset black men.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. I feel like a lot, maybe not. I don't know.
I hate for it to even mention that they're black.
I know. I hate that too. But at the same time, if it is a legit suspect, it's a description, some kind of description is helpful. But Anyway, so it was just really weird because so she vanished on December 20th. She left the tin roof with these two guys, heavyset dudes, and that was kind of all of it. And then they went on to say, okay, well, she was wrapped up in this fabric, and they're not treating it as a murder or as a homicide, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because how do you wrap yourself up? And which, I mean,
I guess you could, but
that would be
what they say her cause of death was.
They haven't come out yet. And so, not to, this shit always hits the news outlets, and then people forget about it, and it just gets swept under the rug, which is terrible because obviously resolution should come from this. Yeah. But yeah, it was just really weird because they, especially the Fox News article, didn't have half of the information that the other one did, but they came out on the same day kind of thing. So I don't know. It was just really weird. And for them to not be treating it as a homicide is also really weird given the evidence. But they don't say why they're not treating it as a homicide. Yeah. And I can't, I kind of tried to rack my brain a little bit to see, okay, well, is... Like,
I hope if I'm found after I'm missing and I'm in an abandoned house wrapped up in some fabric, that gets treated as a homicide.
Well, and that's, literally, you just... You just summed it up, or like, at least my thinking.
Why would it not be?
Yeah, because it's like, okay, the people that, and of course you hear all these stories that it's like, oh my god, she wasn't like that, and blah blah blah, and like she ended up being a serial killer or whatever.
Sure,
and I'm not
whatever. No,
but this seems really fucking cut and dry.
I don't like it.
Like,
it's weird,
And so they still don't have
Plus,
any...
if she sent that text saying something like, I feel like I might be in trouble, and that's the last anyone fucking heard of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe treated as a homicide.
And she went, and sorry, I left this out.
Okay.
She went to the tin roof with friends.
Yeah.
And then left with two guys that nobody knew. None of them in their friend group knew.
Yeah.
But she wasn't forcibly taken, which... makes
maybe
me
she
think,
wanted to go home with them. It sounds like could have been,
maybe so, but it was,
or she was, bamboozled into something.
Or whatever, threatened, and it's like, who
knows?
I don't know. It just reeks of foul play, I guess.
It's scary, man. I hope they keep on it. I hope they release more details about that.
Exactly, but anyway,
jeez.
So let's talk lotto winners. Are you lucky or are you unlucky?
Apparently a lot of people that win the lottery are not lucky. I'm going to get into this main kind of deep dive of one, and then I'll just finish up with a few like tidbits of other weird ones.
Cool.
My friend Nicole was like, what would be a cool topic for you guys are like bad lottery winners. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, people that have just like won the lottery and just screwed it all up. Like, which happens a lot.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
They totally outrun their coverage.
Oh, man. Well, when she told me about this story, and it took some digging before I could find the right story. But then when I found it, this guy's name is Abraham Shakespeare, which, what a name, right? Right. And when I was trying to find good coverage about it, I was finding a lot of weird sources, but then I found a few pretty big time podcasts that covered it. So I actually used the Red Handed podcast as my source.
Okay.
It was their episode 95 from this May, and they're really good.
I'm not even familiar with them.
I don't think they're really big time.
Yeah.
They're British, but it's like true crime stuff. It's two women, and at one point, like, in the story, they mention a Cracker Barrel, and neither of them had ever heard of a Cracker Barrel. So they ask an American friend, they're like, what's the Cracker Barrel? And the guy's like, shit.
Yeah,
so he's, like, trying to explain what it is. Yeah.
It's like explaining, like, what air is.
Right? Like, how do you
or at least if you're from the South.
Yeah. So, they started out by saying 44% of lottery winners spend their entire winnings within 5 years. That is wild.
Wait, what was that percentage?
44%. Half.
Jesus.
Half of lottery winners spend their whole winnings in 5 years.
That's insane.
And I don't know what they're counting as lottery winners, but everything that I found were people that had won like in the millions. Yeah. So like big winners. Yeah. Not I won $20 on a scratch off and I spent it. Like, you know. So Abraham Shakespeare was 41 and he had $5 to his name. He'd had a really rough life. They said he was functionally illiterate, which they bring up a few more times. He had some kids that he'd never contributed to, like, financially. Mm-hmm. And by 1995, he had served 2 prison terms and was living with his mom.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So in November of 2006, he got a job where his actual job was he was a passenger for this guy who did overnight drives just to keep the driver awake. Huh. I'm like, that sounds like an okay job, I guess.
Yeah.
Like an easy job.
Yeah.
They stopped at a convenience store one night and the guy was like, hey, you want anything while I run in? He's like, yeah, get me 2 of those lottery tickets that were $5.
Yeah.
He won $30 million on one of those. Yeah.
He was given that driver was pissed off.
He was given the option of yearly $1 million payments for however long, you know, they still take the taxes and stuff, or a lump sum that gets more penalty charges. He went with that, and he got about $17 million after all the fees.
God, that's
still a ton of money.
It's
so many fees, though.
But yeah, it's so fucking silly. But...
So, he'd never really had any money, and he had some kids he'd never paid for, like I said. So he settled his child support debt first thing. Then he put $1 million in a trust fund for his son. He gave his mom $12,000 and he bought her a house. His stepdad took $1 million. His 3 stepsisters got $250,000 each. He was really generous with his money. He paid for people's houses, paid for people's funerals. He paid off some guy's mortgage that was $60,000 and he didn't even know that guy's last name. What?
Yeah.
So he was just really, like, willingly, by choice, he was doing all this.
Yeah.
He bought himself a house and some cars in 2007. He never had a license, but he still drove. Eventually, that driver guy who went in and bought the lottery ticket, his name was Michael Ford, he sued him for half the winnings.
Oh, shit.
And he lost.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I was
going to say, man, that's fucked. Like, I mean, even though I would be pissed off, I'd be pissed,
but I would also be like, hey, buddy, throw me a little bit of that and we'll let it go.
This dude already sounds like a pretty generous dude.
Yeah, he's being pretty generous. He probably would have given you some.
Yeah.
So, he just stopped coming around town one day and police started asking around about where he was, and his best friend steered the cops toward this lady named Dee Dee Moore. So Dee Dee had met Abe's realtor and insisted that she be introduced to him, saying she wanted to write a book about him. Dee Dee is a complete con artist.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
She previously in her life, she set up this whole fake scenario where she like ditched her car somewhere and then put herself in a ditch, like tied up, and waited on someone to find her. And then said she had been carjacked and kidnapped and gang raped at gunpoint by 3 Latino men. She was just trying to get her car insurance payout, which she did not get, and she ended up with a year of probation. I feel like you should have got more.
I mean, yeah, no
That's a pretty big fucking lie.
Yeah.
So she tells Abe, she meets him, and she wants to write a book about him, and he just lets her right into his life. He trusts her. She became his financial advisor and moved into his house.
Jesus.
She bought his house from him for some reason for half of what he had just paid for it like a couple years before. She went on to become the primary manager of Abraham Shakespeare LLC, controlling all his money and belongings in February of 2009. And in April, Abe went missing. At that point, 8 people owed him money. So he, at that point, wasn't just giving money.
Yeah.
It was kind of loans.
Oh, okay.
But I got the impression that he was still pretty lenient. Like, it was still you owe me this back. It wasn't like a set date or anything.
Yeah.
So Dee Dee told people he had taken his money and gone into hiding. And people just believed that, and no one seemed to think anything of it. Dee Dee told the press that
this seems like there are so many fucking red flags.
Dude, this
like,
story's
with
nuts.
This Dee Dee.
She is a hot mess.
Yeah.
She told the press that he disappeared and didn't want to be found. She kept telling people all these different stories. She told some people he had contracted AIDS and wanted to go off and die in peace. Was he a farm dog?
What?
Just wander out to the woods to die? No.
The fuck?
And also, you don't catch AIDS. You catch HIV which can progress into AIDS. Like, you don't just...
She seems like a terrible con artist.
She's not good at any of it. She's just a bad liar.
How did she not get
like,
caught?
I'm a bad liar, but I don't try to be a con artist.
Exactly.
So she told other people that he was basically just being a piece of shit and avoiding his child support payments. Sure.
Even though, didn't he pay them off?
Yeah.
So
he
why
got caught up, so I guess then that you still keep paying.
Well, I'm saying, like, obviously he didn't have a problem paying them.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would he all of a sudden have this, like, change in heart? You know?
It doesn't make any sense. And the cops and pretty much everyone finally decided this all sounded nuts. So
after how long?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm not sure. She met up with his mom at that Cracker Barrel, and she had a man call from Abe's phone and talk to his mom, saying that it was Abe.
Okay.
Well, his mom is his mom and knows that's not his voice.
Yeah.
So the cops look into it, and they had the phone bugged. They found out that the phone was so close by that it pinged on the same cell tower as Dee Dee's phone. So, like, whoever's pretending to be Abe out in hiding is right fucking nearby.
Yeah.
Another lead that they had was his mom knowing it wasn't him on the phone, and it turned out to be a man named Greg Smith, the owner of a barbershop that Abe used to hang out at, who owed Abe $63,000. After the call, the police pulled him over, and Abe's friends had been getting texts from his phone. Abe can't read or write, so that was weird.
Yeah.
A detective got Greg Smith to be a double agent. They got him to wear a wire during every conversation he had with Dee Dee. But he said the wire was too obvious that she'd see it. So he hid it in a Red Bull can in his car. And then he thought he was brilliant for it. I think he called it the Dee Dee catch cam, even though it was just a mic. But, like, he thought he was hot shit for hiding this.
Yeah.
So Dee Dee eventually got Greg to give Abe's mom a letter, supposedly from Abe, detailing that he wanted to be left alone.
Yeah.
Again, your boy can't read or write, so this doesn't fly.
Yeah.
Why does she keep forgetting he can't read or write?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many fucking...
She's so bad at this.
Yeah.
God. So Greg insists that he didn't know Abe was dead during all this double agent shit.
Yeah.
And then Dee Dee finally told him, by the way, I need help moving Abraham's body.
How does that come up in conversation?
Just casual, like, hey man, it's been cool hanging out. You got a second?
Yeah,
I got this body.
I'm having a Super Bowl party next week, and
need to clear
I'm just cleaning up around the house. Do you mind to help me move Abe's body?
Right.
It's like, what the fuck, man?
Greg sweared he didn't know. Sweared? Wow. Greg swore he didn't know until right then.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
She told Greg that a drug dealer named Ronald from Miami had killed Abe for his money and threatened to kill her son and cut him up into little pieces if she didn't hide the body. Greg, by the way, had pretended to be Ronald, who was completely made up, on a phone call a while back, but Dee Dee seemed to forget about how she had told Greg that Ronald isn't even a real person.
Dude, this is...
You're so
outrageous.
bad at this.
Yeah.
This reads like fiction. This is such a joke.
How is... I don't even
I'm
understand
so glad
how.
Nicole told me to look into this because it's so good.
Yeah.
So Greg agreed to help remove the body. He asked Dee Dee to show him where the body was. She did. And she also gave Greg the gun that was used to kill Abe. They weren't sure how she explained why she had that.
Oh my God.
The cops found the body on Dee Dee's property. He had died April 6th or 7th of 2009. Dee Dee was arrested on suspicion of being an accessory, and while being questioned, she stuck to this whole Ronald story and told a whole bunch of sob stories. Yeah. And she tried to initiate a sexual relationship with a detective, and then later on admitted that, yes, she did try that. Sure, yeah, she did, but Ronald had put her up to it. Bitch, Ronald does not exist. Everyone knows Ronald is totally made up. What are you on about?
I mean, dude, this is like... Well, what really comes to mind is the old saying, "Oh, the tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive," or whatever.
I never knew the rest of that. I just knew the tangled web part.
I think that's right.
Well,
anyway.
She was found guilty of murder in the first degree and sentenced, I think, to life without parole. And at the time of his death, how much money do you think he had left?
Oh my God! Well, dude, honestly, so he walked away with 17.
17 million, and that was in November of 2006, and he died in April of 2009.
God, 2 million.
14K.
What?
Bless his heart.
I mean, this just sounds
What did he even get killed for at that point?
Yeah.
14,000?
Well, I mean, what did... Yeah, honestly, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense as to why she would kill him.
Why'd she kill him?
Because, I mean, she had already had, like...
She already had control of all his shit.
Controlling interests or whatever of everything, and, like...
Ugh.
Jeez, dude.
So, a couple other stories. If you Google, like, lottery ticket or lottery winner horror stories or anything like that, there's a ton of these. There was a couple that were married for 25 years without any kind of marital issues, and out of nowhere, the wife asked for divorce, did not mention during the proceedings that she had just won $1.3 million in the lottery. And then when that was discovered, a judge found her guilty of violating California's disclosures law and awarded the whole winnings to her ex-husband. Good.
Get it.
A woman named Evelyn Adams won the New Jersey lottery 2 years in a row, totaling more than $5.4 million.
How in the hell?
20 years later, she had spent it all and was living in a trailer, last I could find.
Jeez, dude.
A 19-year-old garbage man named Michael Carroll won about $14.4 million US in the British lottery in 2002. When he went to collect it, he was already a criminal and was wearing an ankle bracelet monitored by police. He went on to earn the name the Lotto Lout.
The Lotto
He
Lout.
bought a mansion. He was just like fucking terrorizing the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Doing tons of cocaine and spending a ton of money on prostitutes.
Yeah.
And in 2012, he admitted he was broke and living off of unemployment. And the article that was linked showed that he now works at a cookie factory, making about $300 a week.
Jeez, dude. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, it's
so many of this next one. Okay, no, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, there are so many stories of just people like winning the lottery and literally their life just going shit.
Yeah.
Like,
well, certain states have laws that like you have to
disclose,
say your name if you're gonna get the prize.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't want to do that. People are going to come out of the woodwork, man.
What? Yeah, why?
I don't know. I don't know.
I wonder why they... Well, why it's... First of all, it's not like a...
Countrywide.
Well, obviously, the lotteries are state-run.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why anybody would require that.
I don't know.
I mean, it's
weird.
Just... Yeah, I don't know.
Probably some tax bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
This next one, though, if you Google this guy, there are some long stories on him. Like, so detailed. It was one of those, I'm like scrolling, looking for one specific detail, and I'm like, how long is this? So this guy named Jack Whitaker in 2002.
That actually sounds familiar.
I think it's just kind of a generic name. I don't know. Okay. He won $314 million in the West Virginia lottery.
Oh, my God.
And at the time, in 2002, that was the largest undivided lottery jackpot in history.
302.
314.
Oh, 314,
yeah,
sorry.
in 2002.
Gotcha.
He took a lump sum, and he still got $113 million.
I mean, dude, I would lump sum it and just toss in the fucking bank and live off interest.
Well, and there's a whole thing about, like, your money is worth more to you now than it is in the future kind of thing. Like, that's a whole, like, financial advice bullshit thing. So, like, I think the lump sum is technically the better advice.
Yeah.
What do I know? Please seek financial counsel.
Yes, seriously.
That is not me.
We do not even pose as financial analysts here.
So, he was very, like, look what a good dude I am. He gave 10% to the church. He said he was going to donate millions to his family's favorite pastors. He won it on Christmas Day. And then by New Year's Eve, he rolled up into a strip club in town and slapped $50,000 on the bar and proceeded to, quote, whoop it up.
I feel like I would like going out with this.
Right? Somebody who worked at the bar was like, dude, people will bonk you in the head for like $15 here. Put that away. What the fuck are you doing?
Seriously.
Also,
my God,
when he won, he was like 55, and he basically dressed as like Johnny Cash, like all black cowboy gear. And when someone said that, he was like, this isn't Johnny Cash, this is Jack Whitaker. Oh. Like, dude, Johnny Cash was a bigger style icon than you can imagine you will ever be.
Oh, yeah.
He later on was in that same strip club, which he started frequenting a lot. And he started bragging that he had $500,000 in his Lincoln Navigator outside in a briefcase. So someone went outside and fucking broke the window and stole it. Duh.
So he legitimately had it. Why would you not just, like, brag on that?
what are you doing?
I mean, like, seriously.
Like, and everyone knows what car you drive,
Yeah.
and like, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, what are you doing, first of all, in a strip joint? But,
Right.
So.
And why do you have $500,000 in a briefcase in your car?
Yeah.
What? So anyway, whoever took it, like, hid it behind a dumpster, and when the police came, they found it, so he didn't even lose it. But then later, another time, $100,000 got stolen from his same car. Quit leaving so much cash in your car.
What the fuck?
God, that guy's story is insane. Like, there was a whole subplot about his granddaughter, and like, that story's nuts.
Yeah.
Who else we got? A guy named Willie Hurt won $3 million in 1981, and 2 years later he was broke after spending all his money on crack, and was charged with a murder over killing a woman for crack cocaine.
I mean, I just can't. I mean, like, I know that money changes people, but I cannot imagine, like, changing that drastically.
Right?
I mean, like, okay, obviously.
I'm a millionaire, I better start doing crack. Like,
yeah. Or it's like, oh, my, $10 a week crack habit. Now I can make it $10,000 a week. And it's like, wait, what?
One other guy, it took him 20 months to lose the $31 million he won in the Texas lottery in 97. He quit his job at Home Depot and he donated to charity, including 480 turkeys to the poor.
That's pretty awesome.
But soon his spending got out of control and people started to harass him for money. And after he separated from his wife, his son found him dead from suicide.
I mean, dude, it's like you said earlier.
It fucks you up, man.
People fucking come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, I'm your sister's, husband twice removed. Blah,
I was
blah,
in line
blah.
behind you at Kroger once. Like,
yeah.
And one last one. Tonda Lynn Dickerson worked at Waffle House. A generous regular gave the staff lottery tickets, and Tonda realized she had a winning ticket worth $10 million. While the rest of the employees said that they had all previously agreed to split a winning ticket if any of them ever got one, Tonda decided to keep it all for herself. They sued her. They lost. But karma came back and bit her when the IRS sued her for unpaid taxes.
Ooh.
You love to see it. Be better, Tonda.
Get your shit together. Actually, this was actually a weird little anecdote over the holidays. So my folks, we will exchange names for stockings.
Yeah.
And then we'll do Secret Santa shit.
Oh, that's good.
And it's all fun and good. And normally what will happen is my dad will also buy 5 scratch offs and toss them in stockings and shit. And it's all fun. Well, we won. I won $10 on mine, and my dad won 25 on his, and just gave it to me or whatever. And so I went to go cash it in, and so I give it to him, and I'm not a gambler. As in, I took $50 to Tunica, Mississippi, and literally just played roulette that it was 50 cents or something, and because I just went for free drinks and shit, and one of my other buddies is definitely a bigger gambler, and but anyway, so we won these scratch offs, and I went to the pilot down from our house to turn them in, and so I turn them in. And the guy's like, do you want some more tickets or do you want cash? And I was like, oh, I just want the cash,
Yeah.
And he looked at me like it was the most offensive thing that I was not buying more tickets with my winnings or whatever. And I was just like, but that's normally what happens, is that they'll win a little bit and they'll just sink it right back into the lottery. That's why,
Oh yeah.
And I'm just not that kind of person. But it was a really weird experience because I mean, I don't know. I'm just not a gambler, and I was 100% gonna walk away with a little more cash in my pocket. So, but just kind of a weird little anecdote.
Yeah.
But do you and Jesse ever play the lottery?
Not very much.
No.
My mom's really big on it, and she usually gets us some tickets. And he plays every now and then. He also talks all the time about what he'll do when he wins.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that? This is such a dumb joke,
What?
but there's this whole little anecdote where this guy just kept praying, God, let me win the lottery. God, let me win the lottery and solve all my problems. God, let me win the lottery. And finally, God spoke to him and was like, my son, buy a ticket. Because Jesse doesn't buy lottery tickets, but desperately wants to win. And I'm like, you literally cannot win if you are not buying a ticket.
That's awesome. All right, so any more lottery happenings?
No, I think that was plenty.
Yeah, dude, that was super interesting. That
was really
Abraham
good,
Shakespeare.
dude. That
what
podcast was like 45 minutes long. Like that was a real quick version of it.
Yeah,
it was
crazy.
A very meaty story.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm glancing at the clock, and I believe we have arrived. Yeah, so we are putting a nice little tight bow on episode 82 of the Tether Radio podcast. First of all, I wanted to send a shout out to Nicole.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us a heads up, or at least giving us a solid topic to cover, because I wouldn't have thought of it on my own volition, and I don't know if Allie would have or not.
No, I don't think so. That was cool though,
but
and
super cool.
And she gave us another topic that I've got stored away. I'll work on too.
Rock and roll.
Yep.
Well, keep these suggestions coming in, because we are always down for suggestions for show topics.
Yeah.
If you need to know where to send them, here we go. We can be reached at tetherradio@gmail.com. That is tetherradio@gmail.com. We are on Jack Dorsey's Twitter sphere at tether_radio. Every time I think of the Jack Dorsey now, I'm going to think of Allie's comment about, seriously, dude, get some fucking beard oil. We are also on Instagram at tether_radio. We are on Facebook, Tether Radio, all one word. Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We really we're trying to pump up numbers for 2020. We also want are trying to get more activity in our Tether Radio After Dark Facebook group.
Yep.
I definitely have some overflow that will be posted.
Cool.
Over the course of this week, probably.
And if you guys are already in there, invite your friends. I mean, even if they don't listen, they can have fun in the group, but
Seriously.
we love them to listen to.
Yeah, exactly. We're shooting for as much involvement as possible, because honestly, the more the merrier.
Yep.
So, this has been episode 82 of the Tether Radio podcast. I'm Daniel.
I'm Allie.
And we are thanking you for lending us your ear for approximately an hour and a half. Man, we hope you guys have a fantastic week, and look forward to talking to you next week. Have a good one, friendos.
Bye.